now, they're very successful startups na. We will be inviting those so that they can actually share their opportunities, their best practices. Yan. And then in the afternoon, we are going to have our Philippine Startup Challenge professional category final. So the question is, what is this Philippine Startup Challenge 2021? This is very timely because we are going to really promote this. So thanks, Ramon, for inviting us. Ito talaga yung gusto namin i-promote dito sa inyong Youth for IT convention, the Philippine Startup Challenge 2021. You know, we've been doing this since 2015. Basically, this is an annual pitching competition, before only for the students. But now for this year, this is both for the professionals and for the students. Basically, we want to encourage the students to really explore, not to become entrepreneurs themselves. Because diba, karamihan, like kami sa age namin, nakaprogram kami to become employees, but we would really like to encourage students that you have a lot of options. If you want to become startups yourselves, then you can just use technology, just have your crazy idea and just have to dream big. And yeah, so maybe you can start doing that by participating in the Philippine Startup Challenge 2021. And so the goal is to be able to reinforce Filipino students to create innovative and relevant ICT products and services, to be able to help solve social problems. And so we'd like to invite everyone to participate in this. You just have to submit your minimum viable product, no? And this is composed of 2 categories for the students. Dati, this is only for 4th year college students. Now, this is open for 1st year to 4th year or 5th year college students, or even to senior high. You can team up, no? As one team for the student. And then the professionals naman, this is composed of 2 to 4 members with a designated team leader. So for this year, this is the deadline for submission for the professionals is on October 15. So some of the teachers actually have submitted their entries, and then the students have still time to think about, come up with your own ideas and submit to us, because the deadline is still on December 30, 2021. So what you will do is just to submit a 3-minute video pitch and a pitch deck. And this is ito yung criteria, no? In terms of your idea, in terms of viability, relevance, impact, creativity, and presentation. And so initially, you are going to submit through our regional offices, kasi before going to the national finals, we'll have to go through the regional pitching muna. So our regional clusters will have their regional pitching competition, and from the regional winners, we're going to select top 3, and then from the top 3, we're going to select the top 20 for the semi-final round, and eventually choose the top 10 for the national pitching competition. And so these are the prizes now for the professional category. As I mentioned earlier, we have our startup grant fund, which we hope to provide 500,000 pesos per team. And so part of the prizes for the professional category is that we're going to select the top 5, and we'll be giving them that grant, 500,000 per team or per startup. And of course, together with our partners from the private sector, they will be receiving prizes, mentorship. Yan. So yan po yung aming prizes for the professional category. And for the student naman, we'll be choosing 1 grand champion, and there will be 4 runners-up. And they will be receiving gadgets, equipment from our partners, and of course, mentorship from our partners as well. Now, if you want to know more about this, you can just send us an email, or you can go to our website, webpage, so that all the details will be there. And we are working closely, and to be able to implement these programs, we are working closely with our community partners. So ito po yun. In fact, the speakers today, Andre from Ignite, Spring.ph, Arup, sino pa, Kubo Dave and Impact Hub are our partners in our startup development program. And we'd like to thank them for all the support that we've been working together, they've been providing to us. And this is really a great collaboration with them. So that's my last slide. Thank you so much. Again, I'd like to thank Sir Mon, the organizer, UPS IDF, for this opportunity. We'd like to encourage all the students, the members from the academy to participate. There are a lot of opportunities right now. All you have to do is really grab those opportunities, come up with ideas that will help solve social problems, and then dream big. Sabi nga ni Earl kanina, is really have to focus, no? Okay, so with that, thank you so much. And you can actually reach out to me if you have more questions, you want to know more the details. We're open for collaboration as well, so just let us know. Again, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Director Delphin. All right, guys, block off your calendars for PH Startup Week 2021 from November 15 to 19, 2021. And of course, the ICT is also encouraging you to participate in their Philippine Startup Challenge 2021, calling all the IT professionals and students. Right, ma'am? Okay.
Thanks, great. Thank you.
Of course. Just like what we did for with Mr. Mighty's presentation, ma'am. So as we would like to manage the time, we would love to answer all those questions related to your presentation. But for the sake of time management, ma'am, we will be able to answer all those questions na lang later sa ating panel discussion. All right. Okay. Thank you again, Director Delphin. Thank you for gracing our event. All right, okay guys, now we'll proceed to our next speaker. Now we have the current head of the Community and Ecosystem Department at IdeaSpace, QBO, where he leads the startup awareness and advocacy initiatives of the organization. He also helped build and develop the startup local community of Iligan and nearby provinces. Let us all welcome Mr. Dave Del Rosario.
Hello, hi, good afternoon. Let me just quickly share my screen. There. Checking if you guys can see my screen now.
Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect. Hi everyone, good afternoon. Very much happy to be here, and of course, thanks for inviting me, especially to Sir Mon Ibrahim. My name is Dave Del Rosario. I'm currently the head of the Community and Ecosystem Department at IdeaSpace Kubo, where we lead all the awareness and advocacy programs of the organization to strengthen the Philippine startup ecosystem. So for the next 15 to 20 minutes, my topic is all about building the Philippine startup ecosystem. And this topic is very close to my heart and very timely because as I created my deck last night, I actually realized that year 2021 marks my 10th year in the industry, and I can't help but to go back to my very first days working with IdeaSpace and supporting them to push the advocacy to really support different startups in the country. And so I told myself, while I was doing this deck, why not discuss this topic by sharing what I've seen in the ecosystem over the last 10 years of being here. And looking back and while preparing this deck, this famous quote really resonated with me, because just as it takes a village to raise a child, I think I'd like to believe that it definitely takes a strong startup ecosystem, to build a great startup now. And I'm very much fortunate to have experienced firsthand the advantages of being part of the Philippine startup ecosystem and witnessing how it started and how it is right now. And over the last 10 years, or for the last 10 years working for the Philippine startup community, I've only been to like 3 organizations. Actually, dalawa lang, since Kubo is supported by IdeaSpace, and these organizations have actually merged into one organization since February. So since 2012, this is how my 10 years in the Philippine startup scene looks like. I was with IdeaSpace from 2012 to 2016. Started as their intern during October of 2012. Then later on becoming their marketing and advocacy associate. And while working with IdeaSpace during that time, I also became active in organizing different startup weekends in the country. And funny then, because Sir Mon FB reminded me that 6 years ago, today was the first ever Startup Week in Manila that I organized with other enablers. And I saw that Sir Mon Ibrahim was a judge during that time, and here's a picture to prove that that Startup Weekend 7 years ago. So really time flies, and then during 2016, I decided to leave Manila and help Mindanao. So for everyone nasa Mindanao right now, I hope you guys are doing good. So with no doubts, no hesitation, no friends nor family members, I went to Iligan City May 2 of 2016 and started my journey as the center manager of IDEA, the first technology business incubator in Mindanao, located inside MSU IIT. So I'm not sure if meron mga taga MSU IIT here or MSU students. And from there, my hashtag para sa Mindanao journey began. And I was very fortunate enough that year 2019, I consider that as my year actually, since I was given this once in a lifetime opportunity to join the YCE as its academic fellow, where we went to the US and studied social entrepreneurship at the University of Connecticut for 1 month. Then after I came back, another opportunity came, and that's through the Rainmakers program, the ACT, where I became the Region 10 Rainmaker in charge of helping the region create startup awareness. And then fast forward 2020, I went back to Manila and joined Kubo Innovation Hub. It's Kubo, it's not QB or it's not Cubo. It's really Kubo like a bahay Kubo, And also I am currently leading the awareness and advocacy up until now. So, over the last 10 years, I've seen the growth of the Philippine startup ecosystem. And just context, I think Prof. Arup and Ms. Amy was able to mention then, over the last 10 years, we've seen the growth of startups in the country and having likely around between 500 to 700 startups to date. So this is like combining also the reports we got sa Startup Link and Startup Genome and all of the mappings that we conducted at Kubo. But not just that, we're happy to see that the number of angel investors and venture capital firms are increasing. Different incubators and accelerators. Actually, this is not super updated because DOST Fisher actually has added new PBIs in the country. And of course, co-working space are being established not just in Manila, but almost in each part of the country. So we see this as a result of the joint effort and dedication of different educational institutions, private organizations, and government to really support the ecosystem startup founders in the country. Just for everyone's context, just to add to what Ms. Amy mentioned kanina, here's what the Philippine startup ecosystem looks like. It's young and thriving, but full of potential and embedded capabilities that make it ripe and startups, and that make it ripe for startups to really thrive. And we are also receiving some recognitions over the last years, as you can see. Best country for global investment based from Wharton last 2018. Do check out Startup Link and Startup Genome reports to know more about the Philippine startup ecosystem. And we all agree that it's more fun in the Philippines. And I think now is the best time for the Philippines to be known, not just because of Manny Pacquiao, not just because of Boracay, not just because of Miss Universe, but because we are also able to produce great technology, great startups that can change the way we live. And let me share with you what I've seen in the ecosystem over the last 10 years. And last night, I've been looking at different models on how to really build a startup ecosystem. And this model specifically, what you guys can see in your screen is something that I can very much relate to. And true enough, I've seen these 6 components in the ecosystem over the last 10 years. And maybe I can quickly go through them one by one and show you guys how the ecosystem have changed and how different enablers and champions supported the startups in the country. Okay? And maybe I can start here where I began my journey. Over the years, we are seeing the establishment of different incubators and accelerators in the country, both by the private and public sectors. If you guys are not familiar with this term, incubation and acceleration, I do suggest to watch the K-drama series called Startup. If you have watched that what you guys can see in your screen are actually the sandboxes of the Philippines. So we have so many incubators and accelerators in the country, and they actually provide crucial support to different startups, especially those in the early stage of development. And yung mas nakakatuwa pa dito is that these incubators and accelerators are not just in Manila. No? They're everywhere, from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And of course, that's because also of the UST Fisher TBI's program. We already have 48 technology business incubators in the country, housed in different universities around the country. No? So for everyone's assignment after this, after school, after this event, if you guys have already your own, if you guys already have your own TBI, if yes, then great. No, you can always take advantage of the opportunities they offer. And if none, talk to your dean, talk to your vice president, talk to your president, no, and tell them that there's a TBI program that can help the school establish its own incubator. And just to also share, us in Idea Space, we have this flagship acceleration program, which is a year-long program for early stage startup founders. No, every year out of 100 entries that we receive, we only select 30 startups that will enter the pre-acceleration program. And then after that, top 20 will proceed and move to the 4-month acceleration program, where they will receive monetary and non-monetary support. So if you guys are building a startup, definitely check out our acceleration program. The second one, of course, nakaka-happy din is the available mentorship for startups. No? For the last 10 years, I always meet new people that is always game to support startups in the country. Ika nga, no one gets left behind in the ecosystem. Now, someone is always ready to help you and assist you. And us at Kubo, we are fortunate enough to have these people na always ready to mentor a startup. Once you involve yourself to the startup scene, you're gonna meet them. And I believe some of them you're gonna meet for the next 3 days of Y4 IT. But aside from that, I've also seen different mentorship programs to support startups in the country. And of course, at us at Kubo, we regularly do mentorship sessions with experts and different classes to support startups. But aside from us, aside from what we do at Kubo and Idea Space, there are so many mentorship programs and opportunities that await you if you need it. All you really have to do is, check Google, check Facebook, and avail of all of these opportunities. And then the third thing that I want to emphasize is, of course, the locations and events. The very reason why I left Manila and moved to Iligan is because I want to promote countryside development and bring different opportunities to these provinces. And when you talk about Philippine startup ecosystem, it's always about Manila, it's always about Cebu, which is true naman, because Manila is the center of the startup ecosystem in the country. But I believe that outside Manila lies so many talents and ideas that we need to unveil from the countryside. And to do that, we really need to go to their places, to your places. We need to go to your universities, to your cities, and actually spend time with you guys. For the last 10 years, I've seen so many faces of passion and grit in every boot camps and conferences that we organize is always refreshing and inspiring for us. And of course, Nosan Kubo being a national innovation hub means going around the country and supporting different homegrown talents in the countryside. And we do that through our roadshow, where we visit different cities and schools per year and conduct a startup conference with students and, inspire them to create their own startup. And then the fourth component that I want to highlight as well is the education. This is very important if you want to have a strong startup ecosystem. And the good thing about the ecosystem is that we have this specific subject na it's called E101 or Technopreneurship 101. Not sure if some of you was able to enroll themselves here, but this is a new subject rolled out by PhilDev and CHED in 539 universities all over the Philippines for STEM students or STEM students. But our hope is that this will also be offered to non-engineering students, since we believe that innovation is for all. And during my college day, I am a marketing grad of Letran Manila, and we definitely didn't have this opportunity. So definitely the Philippines is really catching up in terms of introducing technology and entrepreneurship to different students. But aside from that, again, today's generation is very fortunate to have the support of both the private and public sector in educating them about innovation, about startup, and about technopreneurship and all. And of course, the establishment of different university-based EBIs is definitely a big help to achieve this, and the contribution of big corporations like SmartSweep, where they support different schools in their technopreneurship journey, is also important. And I guess I'm down to my last two components.